Okay, in this particular lecture, I want to talk about supreme enlightenment. Black supremacy has come out of the desire for enlightenment. That's how I arrived at black supremacy. Studying self and trying to know who God is. In the process of that, I became aware of all this other stuff. I became aware of black supremacy. I could not avoid black consciousness. Because if you black and you seeking consciousness, it's going to be black consciousness. If you black seeking enlightenment, it's going to be black enlightenment. And the reason I say that is because your experiences are tailored to who you are. If I'm a black man or quote unquote African American that walks up into a Hindu temple, they're dealing with me as an African American. They're not dealing with me like I'm from India. So I'm getting a black enlightenment right in the door. I'm not getting a Hindu enlightenment because they deal with me based on their perception of me. And they try to relate. This whole society politically is about being able to relate to others. Meet them where they're at. If I walk into a Buddhist temple, they're dealing with me as though I'm an African American male, right? Urban, whatever that is. Let's kind of relate to him. So that's where the black enlightenment comes from, because there is an enlightenment that is particular to us. And every message that everybody speaks, be it they're Hindu or yogi or whatever, is not tailored for us. It's not going to reach us. They can't all cross those boundaries, those gaps between our culture and theirs. Some of them have been able to do that, and more of the time we've been able to cross the gap and bring some of it back. Some of us have been able to cross those gaps, cultural gaps between us and them, and then bring the knowledge and wisdom back to our side quicker than they've been able to identify with us. These Hindus and gurus are not coming to the hood and waking people up. But some people have managed to get out of the hood for a little while to go and get some of that information and bring it back. So there is a black enlightenment, a black awakening, one that is relative to our unique experience. So even if you start off saying, I don't deal with race at all. I'm not a racist. I'm just an individual that just wants to get enlightened. But as soon as you walk up in the temple, they see a black person. They see African American. They see someone that they must relate to based on how they have been educated to perceive and view people. So right there, the whole political spectrum is born. Right there, it becomes political at that moment. It becomes a racial matter at that moment. They speak Hindu, the Hindu language. We speak in English. It's political right there. Some concessions must be made, in order to interface from two different origins. So, and that's since race matters and it won't go anywhere, even if we avoid it. We're still being viewed out of the thing that we avoid to look from. Out of the glasses that we refuse to look out of, we're still being looked at out of those glasses. It's still a real view. It's still a real perspective. So I grew in black enlightenment. And the more I grew in black enlightenment, the more I saw why blacks weren't enlightened, because of the quality of the enlightenment that was being brought. All of the enlightenment that was being brought was making everybody else feel good about themselves. With all the other schools, Buddhism, the Japanese felt like he was the author of that. With Hindu, even though the Hinduism or Krishna consciousness, even though it's a black deity, the Hindu felt like that's me. So none of this enlightened stuff really related to us, which is why we don't have it. It wasn't made to fit us. So then it had to, once we were able to slide into it, then it had to be reinterpreted in a way where it related and we fit into it. Why should we be interested in it? Why should the person walking down the street, 47th Street, be interested in black enlightenment, in enlightenment and spirituality?